Welcome back to season 3 of the Cowboys and Coffee podcast. D, we made it through 2 seasons alive, if we haven't pulled our hair out, but we did it. We're here. Welcome
Yes.
back.
Good to be back.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, it's been a busy off season. We've got over the mourning process of the season. Congratulations to the Chiefs, and thank you to the Chiefs for beating the Eagles in the Super Bowl. We're on to the off season, baby. We're halfway to next season, I think, already. The start dates are the 17th, April 17th, the Cowboys get back into camp. So let's just start from the top. Who's gone, who's new, who's back. Start with our losses. We've got Connor McGovern, our left guard, signed a deal with the Bills. Zach Gifford is gone. They thought he would get some linebacker snaps. He's gone. Noah Brown's with the Texans. Good for him. He was a quality player.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, McQuaid, their long snapper, is gone. Doesn't bother me too much. I think Bones is going to take care of that.
But he was good. He was a Pro Bowler, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he was bad.
Yeah, I think it was a Pro Bowler, wasn't he?
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, see ya, and Zeke is gone. Now, tell me the ones that hurt. Tell me the ones that don't hurt. What one hurt the most?
Listen, I know you think it's silly, but is the long snapper, you can replace guys like that, but he is a Pro Bowler. But listen, emotionally, it's Zeke, obviously. Schultz, you knew he was going to go, and we had 2 people there. But Zeke is the one that we know. I mean, we've talked to him. We know what he's all about. We've seen his life turn around from where he started from and where he's at today, and he has to move on. And, when us guys who get emotionally attached to these guys and touch bases with them somewhat, somebody, he's your friend.
We wish
we go out together, but
we wish that there's those guys in Cowboys lore that you wish had won a Super Bowl, be it Danny White or Tony Romo. Ware got his somewhere else, but Jason Witten, I think Zeke's in that category of guys.
Oh, Danny White did win one, by the way. He's on the punter on the 78 team.
That's right, he's the punter.
77 team, yeah. Go ahead.
But still, there's some guys who didn't get theirs, and I think, Zeke's on that list. That one, like you're right, emotionally that one hurts most for me. From the production perspective, you'll miss a short yardage back, which you need to address one way or the other. And what I think they're going to miss most is his pass blocking. You say, okay, he's not going to go out on routes, but Pollard has shown, some of these other backs have shown they're just not up to snuff when it comes to pass blocking like Zeke was. So they'll have to fill that role. Someone's going to have to step up. And what you don't want is Dak getting blindsided because their running backs didn't pick up. And that's where Zeke, I think, was excellent. And you say, okay, that's no big deal. It's a running back. It's no big deal until your quarterback gets the snot beat out of him and a broken jaw.
Well, it happened to Tony Romo with Gronkowski, because they got rid of Deion Anderson.
Correct.
Remember that? Mm-hmm. So it did happen.
Dalton Schultz, I'm not upset with, because I think you have guys who are going to replace him on the team, guys who can replace him through the draft.
That was business.
Yeah, good luck. He didn't get some mega deal out there like, he went somewhere else. He bet on himself. The market was depressed at the tight end position because there's so much talent there. And like I've said before, he made 2 suck plays at the end of that 49ers game that cost the Cowboys any reasonable shot. He didn't get his feet down, and he didn't fight for forward possession on both of those plays in the last series of the season. And see you later, because I think the other 2 guys would have done that. McQuaid, I think, is a decent loss, but I think you have a great special teams coordinator who can find guys who can do that. McGovern's a decent loss. People were poo-pooing on that pick for a little bit. He turned out to be a decent left guard, signed a nice contract with another team. I'll take a 5th round comp pick from next year, because we've seen, we'll get into that in a minute, what those 5th round compensation picks can become. Gifford was a good special teams guy.
Yes, he was. Yes.
That we'll have to fill that role. And Noah Brown, a very likable Cowboy, not super.
He was a great special teams guy. Yeah.
Special teamer. He's made himself a career in the NFL, got another contract. Listen, he's going to be collecting his pension and making good money because he was with the Cowboys. All the best to you. Good luck. See ya. I think I want to go back to the players they brought back now and some of the talented guys they brought back. Let's start number one, Tony Pollard on the tag. What's your view of him on the tag, and what do you think we should be doing with them going forward with him?
You had to tag him, no brainer. What going forward is equal carries, equal money. You got to split time with him. You got to keep him with the same amount of carries he's got. Give him some money. That's for sure. He's going to have to deal with what the offer is after this year. You'll see what he does. Does he give you 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5.1 per carry? Makes a Pro Bowl, another Pro Bowl, because he did make a Pro Bowl this year.
Right.
Made a Pro Bowl.
My question is, do you go? He's not going to get the big money. The Zeke contract, the Cowboys just aren't handing out again. And here's one quick sidebar I want to say. I think the Cowboys have taken a long way to get there, but I think where we're at now is they're making wise decisions, and we've seen this offseason. We'll talk a little more in a minute, but they're not just handing out these massive contracts like they did for Brandon Carr. They're not trading all these picks for players like Joey Galloway, and they're not this offseason being super stingy and not sending anyone but their own players anymore like they've done in previous years. They are bringing back players at appropriate prices. They're extending guys. They're restructuring contracts. And I think Pollard on his 1 year deal, the tag, he signed it. They're going to try and work a reasonable contract. 4 years, $30 million for him, I don't think is that bad. That's $8.5 million a year. That's reasonable in the market. I think Miles Sanders got like a 3-4 year deal with about $6 million plus. I think he's better than Miles Sanders, especially at this point in his career. So I wouldn't mind, this year his number goes down. Cowboys right now are sitting at $13 million in cap space. Plus they got another $10 million coming June 1st. So they have the ability to make some moves. I think if you're going to sign Pollard, now's the time to do it. If not, you draft a running back here, and then next year you let Pollard walk and draft another running back.
So here's let me just bring this up, because this is fun about talking sports, especially with you. I'm the agent. I'm sitting down with Zeke, and I'm ownership, or either or. I'm sitting down with the agent and saying, listen, I'm going to make your guy healthier. I'm not putting 300 carries on his back. Here's the money for 200 carries for the next, whatever he had last year. And that's why you need an agent. Agent goes, yeah, that's a good idea. Now, I don't know if you say that to a running back.
Well, there's a depreciating value for running backs,
right
now, more than we've ever seen. And who's paying top dollar for a running back on a free agent market? I don't know. The Giants are going to find out real quick, because Saquon got tagged and he's not happy. So you're either going to pay him top dollar, he's going to walk next year. Now's their time, but that's their problem, not mine. Pollard, I think I'd like back on a 3 or 4 year deal worth upwards. I would say $8 million is probably the max I would pay for that. I don't think that breaks the bank, and I think it's keeping a very talented weapon under contract.
Well, I think the money, and convince him about the carries he's going to have during the game. He broke his ankle, whatever he did, not because of he has his legs.
Right. That's not going to affect him.
Zeke lost his legs.
Yeah, Zeke, that's correct. Zeke didn't have the explosion. Pollard does.
That's it.
Let's go through some of the other guys they brought back. Steals on that second round tender. Jerry came out today and said, oh, he's a backup. He's a swing tackle. It's March 27th. I'm not worried about what Jerry says about that. And he's not the one making the call at the end of the day, believe it or not. Mike McCarthy, I think, is the one who's going to make that call with Brian Schottenheimer, and they'll say, okay, because ideally, Steele's at right tackle, Tyron's at left tackle, Tyler's at left guard, Biotish at center, Zach Martin at right guard, and Flourish. But I think it's probably just a negotiating tactic at this point.
Yeah.
Well, he's improved tremendously to be a quality right tackle in the league.
Oh.
And I would like to say this. For all the people who poo-pooed Lyle Collins, and we were not one of them, because you can go back and see he just got cut by the Bengals.
Yeah.
So who knows if he can bend over anymore. All right. Donovan Wilson, LVE come back. Who do you like? Why do you like these guys back on the roster? Tell me, should we have brought them both back?
I was a Wilson fan 3 years ago. He's playing every down. He's up in the line of scrimmage. He's making plays. The big fella as well. They've played. He's playing through the injuries, and they made the defense solid up the middle.
And they're Dan Quinn guys. They work great in that defense.
Yes.
They brought back Goodwin as a special teamer, another good pickup. They, Tack McKinley they brought back on a 1-year deal. Same with Fowler. They've definitely got rushmen on the line of scrimmage. I think this is a defense made in Dan Quinn's image, if I could say that.
Well, we're going to see how they tweak this defense to slow the run up a little bit. It's not the players getting blocked; it's the scheme. See, you don't need 300-pound players to block, the stuff to run. Your scheme stuffs to run.
Right.
Listen, I am not a defensive coordinator in the NFL, but let's see what the scheme does. And again, we need somebody to stop the run, a little more consistent.
I know they're talking
besides the running quarterbacks in the division, that they play against running quarterbacks. The Chicago Bears and the Eagles running. I mean, they're running quarterbacks.
Right, the Giants. Yeah, these guys have running
quarterbacks.
But
so
they are currently working on a Jonathan Hankins deal to get him back. I like him. He definitely was a difference maker when he was in there.
Yes.
People wanted Carlos Watkins. I would prefer Hankins. I think Hankins did a better job. Though it's no shade to Watkins. I mean, he's a decent player as well.
And they want him back.
Yeah, they're great. They're phenomenal role players. These aren't guys who are going to go out and, maybe, I don't know, be all pro, but they can be very effective at what they do. So I'm fine with bringing these guys back. Listen, let's move on to some of the new additions. Stephon Gilmore, Brandon Cooks. Who are you more happy to have now on the team? That second wide receiver or that second cornerback?
Well, if I have to pick one, I like the defensive side of the ball, but it's hard to pick their equal. Right. I have to go to offensive side of the ball. Listen, again, it's a third down. There's not going to be any free throws. So I'm going to go to defensive side of the ball. There's not going to be a free throw down the field now.
If Anthony Brown is gone, your top four cornerbacks are, Diggs, Gilmore, Deron Bland, and Jordan Lewis when he's back. And you'll have Bland and Lewis in the slot, and that's really tough. If you're running four receivers, I think the Cowboys might have the advantage. Usually, I think the advantage goes to the offense when you've got four receivers versus the defense because they don't have the depth. I think sitting right here, right now, Cowboys have that depth of four receivers, and I think they might add, they'll definitely add more depth behind them. I think Anthony Brown is done, but I think there's Gilmore brings that real number two. You're not going to be able to pick on him. Not in this defense, not with his skill.
Yeah, well, there's no number twos. This is two number ones now. And I think Diggs is going to have to step up his game too a little bit as well.
I think
because he was a little bit of a ballet dancer out there last year.
But I think being with former defensive player of the year, a guy who really is just absolute pro in Gilmore, I think that's only going to help him at his craft. I think we've seen Diggs improve. Well, now he's going to take it to the next level. He really wants to be considered not just an interceptions guy, but a good coverage cornerback. This is the guy to learn from, because he's not a schlub. He's not some schmuck they brought in. He's legit. And Brandon Cooks, I think, is very helpful for the offense because he begins to slide the receivers where they're supposed to be. He takes the pressure off of CD, and he puts Gallup back in that third receiver role, which I think will be just incredibly important for the offense.
I looked at his tape, and you're not going to put two guys on it. You're going to roll the zone against him. So somebody will be open for a big play.
And he's a big play threat. I mean, since
Yes.
2015, he has 41 catches of 30 yards or more, which is second in the NFL only to Tyreek Hill. Last year, he had 4 himself, and the Cowboys had 4 as a team. I mean, he
Right.
has 6,000-yard receiving years in the last, let me see here, in the last how long? I'm gonna check and see what my notes here are. He's a 1,000-yard machine. He's getting 1,000 yards with Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not no big deal. I mean, he's out here.
No.
There's one thing he does is catch the ball. Since 2015, he has 6,000-yard receiving seasons, more than Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins,
Right.
Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett. I mean, he performs. You know, he just goes out there.
Yes.
And
He's a professional receiver
that's
with big playability. Yeah.
That's the difference.
He's never was on prime time.
Right.
He's not on a prime time too.
That's the difference between sliding out like James Washington as their third receiver. No offense to Ty Hilton. He made a big play last year, but he's a definitive upgrade now over T.Y. Hilton. And, same thing with Gallup. Gallup will be more dangerous, A, in this new offense, and B, as a third receiver. Now you have to figure out who you're guarding. Like, what third cornerback's going to be on Gallup?
And plus, he's going to be a year healthier. He's ready to play.
You know, I think an underrated signing for the Cowboys here, Ronald Jones. They picked up a running back from the Buccaneers. I think the Cowboys seem to be understanding. It seems to me that this offseason they've understood the value of certain positions, and getting Ronald Jones as another back in the backfield. He's got speed. He can definitely break it. He's a runner who can put his nose down and get short yards. He's got a good maneuverability. I do believe the offense is going back to zone blocking this year, so I think that fits him better. And they're going to running back, I think, by committee with Pollard at the top of the committee, but they're going to throw as many bodies as they can.
Well, I think they got a clone. I think he's got the same style. And they like that style called turning around the corner and going and taking it to the house. Right. As he can take it to the house.
I like him as an addition. They've got Adoga as a guard, some interior depth. They got Sieg as the long snapper. Now, they've made moves, and Cooper Rush, I forgot to say, is back, by the way, in a 2-year deal.
Oh boy, wow. I thought they're going to ask me to come back. I can't do it. I can't be the backup anymore. Last year was my last time I could take a shot at it. Listen, because I do have a little Steve Young in me.
I saw this the other day. It said draft talent and buy need. And I think going into the draft, the Cowboys have bought their needs at a very respectable rate. I mean, they've been making some good decisions contractually. They don't see them having overpaid for anyone this offseason. Listen, CD is going to come up, Diggs is going to come up, Parsons is going to come up. But I would rather have the problem of having talented players that I've drafted after resign than having the problem of I need to go into free agency and to sign top of the line players. Like now they can sign them in-house. Not that I'm asking for a discount, but I am saying I'd rather draft the guys and pay them inside than have to go dip in the free agency pool and try and sign elite talent that way. I think they've done that and they're ready for the draft this year.
Well, they went out, they did their homework. They put their game plan together. It's nice to put a game plan and succeed on it. But guess what? All on paper now. It's all you can ask for. It's on paper. We got those names on paper are good players. They produced. One of them won a championship. So does this get? I'm waiting for my Herb Adderley, Paul. I'm
Oh,
waiting for my Herb Adderley somewhere. We gotta have a Herb Adderley just get us over the hump so we can get on that roll. They're a young football team.
right. They're still not old because they draft well and they continue to draft players who play. They're able to stay young, and which generally speaking keeps them a healthier team. You look at some of these other teams; they get they get dinged up because you're an older team. I think the Eagles have to look out for that this year. Being an older team, especially on the offensive line, Lane Johnson's back. He battled through injuries last year. Kelsey's back. These guys. It's not easy to go in and say, okay, we're just going to continue to play at a high level. Yeah, well, when you get older, your body breaks down, and the Cowboys usually have the healthier teams that can continue to stay out on the field.
Well, when that O line breaks down, your quarterback breaks down.
Right, right. I think the Ravens have had to deal with that because they haven't had a healthy offensive line, and Lamar's been dinged up, and now they've put themselves in an incredibly unique situation where you have this high value quarterback who is a running style quarterback, and you're like, well, you're dinged up. Like, yeah, you're dinged up because our line hasn't been good, and I've had to carry the load, and now I want to get paid for it. Like, yeah, well, you're not going to get paid for it because you're dinged up. So your line really is everything. I know we can say that with Tyron Smith, but that's why they drafted Tyler Smith. It's important to keep these teams young.
Yeah.
So let's transition a little bit to the draft. We're going to do a lot more draft stuff as we move along. Pick 26 comes the Dallas Cowboys. Give me one player realistically you hope drops to the Cowboys and one player you absolutely do not want the Cowboys picking at 26.
I don't want the Michigan guy, Smith. I want the Pitt guy.
You don't want Mozzie Smith.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he doesn't blow me away.
yeah.
You're looking for the Pitt D tackle.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pitt D tackle. That's what's his name?
Chauncey?
Elijah Yancey.
Yancey? What's he called? Yancey?
Yancey.
Yancey, yeah.
He's 6 foot, 280, 6'1", 280. He's tremendously close to looking like Aaron Donald. Does he play like Aaron Donald? If I'm picking a D tackle in round one, he better play like the D tackles that have gone recently. Look at Jordan Davis, stuff like that. He barely saw the field last year. We have to make. If I'm picking a position like that, I have to make sure that he's going to be just a really high end.
Who's the Cowboy that they got from the Saints? It was awesome.
Roy Glover.
Yeah, that's what he's like. That's what he's like. You go look at his tape and see how quick he is off the snap. I'm sorry. I want that guy off the snap. You can be blocked. Don't get me wrong. I understand that, but I think in Division I level, he produced off that defensive stop. Mm-hmm. And remember, instead of going after the Rams tackle, they got Martin.
Right. They've had a couple of those recent drafts where, like, okay, you didn't pick one Hall of Famer, you got another one. You remember Tyron Smith, they took J.J. Watt going after him. Hall of Famers are the way. It's tough to say you wouldn't pick one or the other because without Zach Martin and Tyron Smith, you might have had Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt, but would you have been able to keep your quarterback upright? I don't think so. And that's when they totally redid the line. They got Travis Frederick. They got everything. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I'm saying one person I want to stay away from is Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah.
Yeah.
6'4". He's only 227, 230. That's light for a tight end. And he has back issues. Let me tell you, buddy, if you've got back issues in your young 20s, your early 20s, it doesn't magically get better. There's no magic potion to drink. Like, that's not something that's like, oh, that'll be fine. Right. It's like 7-footers with foot issues. They don't just go away magically.
Right.
You deal with them your entire career. And a reasonable person, I hope falls to the Cowboys would be someone like Nolan Smith, the edge from Georgia, or I would even say Brian Brees, the D tackle from Clemson. I
I'm
think
not. I don't like him.
you don't like Brees.
I don't like Brees.
I
I
think
don't like him.
what he played through last year. His sister died. She was sick. She passed away. And he battled injury throughout the whole year. He's still decent player. He's been productive in college at a high level and against elite talent. Nolan Smith, though, you say okay, the Cowboys already have edge rushers. You got Sam Williams, you got Michael Parsons. I don't think you can ever have too many elite edge rushers. Demarcus Lawrence as well. You kick someone down inside, keep Parsons as that. You run almost like a 5-2, basically. But I don't know that I know that I don't want Dalton Kincaid because that's not working for me. All right, here's the $1 million question. Bijan Robinson standing there at 26. He hasn't been drafted. Do you take him?
Do I take him or do they take him?
Okay, let's answer both questions. Do you take him, and then do the Cowboys take him?
I probably will take him. I don't care about the first round stuff. He is that good. Will they take him? I don't think they will take him. No, they've been through that.
See, you're 26. And we know just because you have a pick in the first round doesn't mean that's how many first round grades you have.
I got lunch. I'll bet you lunch right now. Right now, the Eagles take him. I'm telling you.
Take him at 10?
Yep. Because he's rated top 5. He's rated in the top 10. His rating.
I think they should take him at 10. That doesn't strike me as a Howie Roseman thing to do, even though he
is rated that good. Yeah.
Okay,
I saw the rest of the running backs. They I don't think he's OJ and the rest of them are me. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I think even his backup Roscoe Johnson can be really good in his own running game. I mean, there's a lot of talent. Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. If you told me Dallas in round 2, I would be jumping up and down.
Oh, absolutely. UCLA guy too is good. Texas A&M guy, he's 185. He's like a little Tony Dorsett.
Right. He's light, but he plays heavy. He plays big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some guys. Do the Cowboys trade out of the first round and maybe grab someone like Drew Sanders? Man, he can get after the quarterback. Linebacker from Arkansas is nasty. Do you fill maybe another wide receiver position with Zay Flowers? I know they like Josh Downs from North Carolina. I probably wouldn't take them that high at 26. But man, if I want to trade back in the first round, say to 31 with the Chiefs want to come up and draft an edge rusher, right? Well, I'll move back and then take a wide receiver. You're gonna throw a third to drop from first 26 to 31. Okay, I could do that. And there's guys like Darnell Washington. Do you take him, the tight end? I've heard a lot of generational tight end prospects that have never made it. OJ Howard is like the first one who comes to mind. Kyle Pitts. These guys they're freaks. They'd be whatever. Jerry would trade the moon to get Kyle Pitts. Yeah. Well, maybe he doesn't have to trade anything.
Yeah, they're thinking about trading him too.
He's on the block. He hasn't done anything. The biggest waste of talent. I'll throw them a 5th or 6th round pick for him. Fine. My thing, I think if they trade down, they could pick a tight end like Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. To me, he looks like the tight end that Mike McCarthy would pick. He could block well. He broke all the tight end receiving records at Notre Dame. He's unreal. Would not be surprised if they pick him even over Washington, though I would probably prefer Washington because he's a phenomenal blocker. He's a freak.
He's going. Those two guys are going. They're going to top 20.
2 tight ends in the top 20? There's no way. Teams don't value like that.
These guys are that good. That's why. You see, the rule varies from year to. Let me tell you about drafting. It varies from year to year. So what rule applied last year is not the same this year. Those guys are great tight ends already. Now, we also know with a tight end, it could be a bust as well.
Yes.
What was the guy who got drafted with the Colts some years ago? He ended up with Detroit. and stunk. Well, what was his name? He was a tight end. Ah,
Well, he was
well,
drafted by Detroit.
yeah, Detroit drafted him. Yeah,
Oh my
what was
God.
his name?
And he said he was the best tight end in the
Yeah,
league.
yeah, he stunk for like 4 or 5 years, and then he went to who did he go to become pretty decent? Made a Pro Bowl or two. I can't think of his name now. We'll find out.
Oh my gosh. Now I have to look up
Yeah,
Colts draft history. We're looking it up live here. To anyone listening,
or no, he got drafted by the Lions.
or Lions draft history. You're right.
Enos, something like
Oh, I know it's at the tip of my tongue.
Ennis, something like that.
It's I'm almost there.
Oh man, because I follow tight ends a lot when they get drafted. What's his name?
It wasn't Hawkinson. It was
It's been about 7 years now.
Eric Ebron.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, Eric Ebron, right?
Not the
He
best tight end.
stuck with them, and then I think he went to the Colts and played decent for a couple years.
He made one Pro Bowl with the Colts in 2018.
Yeah, he won Pro Bowl. Yeah,
Made that
yeah,
13 touchdown catches that year.
yeah.
And that was it. He never broke. He never had more than 5 any other year in his career.
Right. Yeah, it's strange. The tight ends are strange, and yep.
Unbelievable. Listen, I wouldn't mind a tight end, maybe a later round pick like Sam Laporta from Iowa. He reminds me a lot of Kittle from the 49ers. He's got a lot of, I don't know, wiggle's the right word. He's phenomenal getting the ball and making plays downfield. And his ability to be very athletic, I would not be upset if you tell me the Cowboys go round 3, 6'4", 250. You know, I think he's a very fluid route runner, and he'd be fantastic in that offense with the other guys that they have who can block and catch as well. So, you know, I don't think they need to spend high assets on the tight end position because you have some talented players. But I think they have the ability to draft another player who needs to be there.
How about Luke Shoemaker?
Okay.
Shoemaker.
You know, Schoonmaker, yeah, from tight end.
Yeah,
from
Michigan.
6'6", 250. I know a lot of guys who have him as like the third-rated tight end in the draft.
Yeah.
Another guy I think you could pick up later in the draft rather than spend, you know, a first or second rounder. You could spend a third or even a fourth rounder and pick him up and play. I would not be upset if round 1 they also picked Steve Avila, guard from TCU.
Yeah, I saw the interview with him today.
Wants to be a Cowboy.
His family's all Cowboy fans. He's in TCU. He grew up there.
Right.
Yeah.
So they won't use one of their, you know, you get 30 visits from outside players. They won't use one of the 30 visits on him because any local, do you have a local?
Right.
So he'll be a local visit who will come in. So they'll definitely check him out. Osiris Torrance is a guard from Florida who I think is also very difficult. He's very tough. He's difficult to move out of the hole. He's 6'5", 335. You know, he's a massive human being. And Florida just produces good interior linemen. You know what I mean?
Right.
I trust them. The Ohio State centers, interior linemen from Florida, you know, things like that. They're like, okay, they look pretty good. So we're winding down here last few minutes. And, you know, it's we're getting to the time when we're ready to be just draft all the time. And then camp's around the corner. I want to talk about one other thing. I like to do a random Cowboy. And today, Marion Barber was my random Cowboy. Rest in peace. He passed away.
Yeah.
You know, last year. He was a phenomenal player, tough as nails. He was an awesome heart and soul of the Cowboys for a while. You know, 6 seasons in Dallas, man. Never rushed for 1,000 yards, but those couple years we were like 14 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns. And he was an absolute ox.
Yeah,
I think
he was.
they had the best 2-yard run in NFL history on the ball.
They all loved him. They all loved him. They all loved him. Yep.
And they said they said he took care of a lot of other players after his life, you know, after his playing career. You know, poor guy died of heat stroke. It was awful, just a good man. It's sad to see. I just wanted to remember him because No one ever spoke ill of him.
Right.
One of those players who won't be in the Hall of Fame, right? He's not going to be in the
Right.
Ring of Honor, but just you want to talk about pure football? That's the
Oh,
guy.
oh, absolutely. Yes.
So that's our random Cowboys player of the day. Anything else you want to go over the last 2 minutes we got here before you head out?
Well, I want to talk about the different philosophy that they're going to run the football to set up the pass. Let Schottenheimer call the plays. Let him call the plays, and then they're going to manhandle. Their philosophy is different now. He understands what it takes to win a championship is to rest your defense. That's what he's telling you.
We are going to get to that.
Rest your good defense.
Yes,
not an average defense.
Bring it back to that on the next episode of Cowboys and Coffee. All right. Listen, I'm glad that we're back. Season 3, we're kicking off. And before we go, the Huskies are in the Final Four. They're going to win it all, baby. They're going to win it all.
That's something. What a shot. Yeah.
Anyway, listen, go Cowboys. Thanks again for watching. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple iTunes, whatever you've got, we are there. D, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Bye, buddy.
All right, thank you, everybody. See you later. Peace.
Peace.